It isn't hard to come across a basketball court when traveling around the five boroughs, especially one that's outdoors. But despite New York City's proud association with the sport of basketball, a portion of outdoor courts are lacking something that some believe is essential to the basketball experience: a net.
I mean, I would say it's at least 60% of the time you would come across a missing net. And a court like this today, you're actually pretty lucky because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that have full nets and only 2 that don't.
After moving to the city 5 years ago, Sam Charles used to keep a notebook of courts around Lower Manhattan and parts of Brooklyn to keep in mind which courts had nets and which didn't. He said if it was up to him, he'd rather be at a court with a net.
Yeah, so I started doing it because when I first moved here, I lived in Hell's Kitchen. I would notice, depending on the week and the weather and the season, whether it had a net or not, because if I had the option, I'd rather go to a place that had a net. Personally, when my friends and I would play, we would go and buy a net for anywhere between $1 and $2. And when you pitch in with like 5 people, you're paying almost nothing. And we would put them up ourselves, and the difference would be immense. And we would just leave them up and see how long they lasted. Sometimes it lasts like a week. Sometimes they would last 2 weeks, but never longer than that, really.
Why are the nets coming down? No one is totally sure, but the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation says that because nets are so often vandalized or removed, the department won't replace them because it's not critical to the basketball experience. Anthony Pasquarella, a Brooklyn native, thinks otherwise.
Do you think kids need to hear that swish sound when they're developing their game?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because sometimes you can't even tell when you go in. I think it's a different feeling after you hit that swish. I think it's a real big difference.
So what purpose do nets serve? Other than catching the ball momentarily and saving players the hassle of chasing down a bouncing ball, there's something about that swish sound that's meaningful to players. Lance Thomas of the New York Knicks grew up playing in outdoor tournaments on NYC's netless hoops, but he acknowledges that a net makes things a bit better for ball players.
Played in New York quite a bit. I went where the competition was at. I used to play in Dykeman. I used to play UDC tournaments. I was at a lot of outdoor tournaments I used to play in, and I loved it. That's where it all started for me. A lot of the courts didn't have nets, and if they did, some of them were chain nets. You know what I mean? And if it had a net, it was probably ripped or cut. You know what I mean? But most of the baskets that we played on, there was nothing there. You adapt when you're a hooper, but it's a great thing to have. If you love the game, you're gonna find a way to play regardless. But a net does help the experience.
The question is, if not the city, who will replace the nets? The people who care about the swish sound might never be happy. But Thomas says the idea of replacing the nets will make the players appreciate them a bit more.
I think that a solution can be made. If we can actually find, some type of solution where, we set up a system where we are putting nets on these baskets, I think like the local kids who actually go to those parks to take more pride and embrace having it.